members who were injured during that operation in Venezuela?
Yes, we have calls into them. I want to speak. They're all in good shape.
Can you detail what watching that was like when all of this played out in Venezuela and what Maduro was doing that moment?
Well, I knew the possible danger. I mean, it was a very dangerous operation. It was amazing that we had a few injured, but all are in good shape right now. But I knew there was great danger. You got off a helicopter. The helicopters were being shot at. They got on the ground. They're amazing talent and tremendous patriotism, bravery. The bravery was incredible. Lindsay, they got off the helicopter and the bullets were flying all over the place. As you know, one of the helicopters got hit pretty badly, but we got everything back. Got everything back and nobody killed.
The next question is who's in charge of Venezuela right now? Have you spoken to the newly sworn in president there, Rodriguez? And what are your thoughts on the entire situation? You said the U.S. would run Venezuela.
We're dealing with the people. We're dealing with the people that just got sworn in. And don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
That means we're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
We're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
No, I haven't, but other people
Do you want to?
Yeah, at the right time I will.
Did the U.S. give Delcy Rodriguez any guarantees in exchange for cooperating
No,
with your administration?
but she's cooperating.
Are you going to demand free and fair elections in the short term in Venezuela?
Well, it depends. What you're talking. We have to do one thing in Venezuela, bring it back. It's a dead country right now. It's a country that, frankly, we would have been, if I had lost the election, we would have been a dead country. We would have been Venezuela on steroids. Venezuela right now is a dead country. We have to bring it back. And we're going to have big investments by the oil companies to bring back the infrastructure. And the oil companies are ready to go. They're going to go in. They're going to rebuild the infrastructure. We built it to start off with many years ago. They took it away. You can't do that. And you can't do that with me. They did it with other presidents.
How soon do you think an election can take place in Venezuela? How soon can an election take place?
Well, I think we're looking more at getting it fixed, getting it ready first, because it's a mess. The country is a mess. It's been horribly run. The oil is just flowing at a very low level, much lower than, even if it was badly run, it should have more income, more oil than what they're doing. So we're going to have the big oil companies go in, and they're going to fix the infrastructure, and they're going to invest money. We're not going to invest anything. We're going to just take care of the country. We're going to cherish the country. We're going to take care, more importantly, of the people, including Venezuelans that are living in our country that were forced to leave their country. And they're going to be taken very good care of. Yes, ma'am.
Have you spoken with the oil companies about
Yes.
going into Venezuela?
I have.
Which ones?
Have you received any commitments?
All of them, basically.
Any commitments from the oil companies?
They want to go in so badly.
Did you speak with them before the operation took place?
Yes.
Did you maybe tip them off about what
Before and after. And they want to go in, and they're going to do a great job for the people of Venezuela. And they're going to represent us well.
What happens
But
to this?
the infrastructure is rusty, rotten, most of it unusable. It's old, it's broken. You see pipes laying all over the ground. Nothing's been invested for years. Chevron's in, as you know, they've done a good job, but even they haven't been in a position to invest money because they're at a month-to-month basis.
What happens to this?
They're only there because I wanted them to be there.
Yeah, are there any contingencies in case that the military in Venezuela is unhappy with the U.S. and the way it's running Venezuela? Do you guys have plans for anything?
So Venezuela thus far has been very nice, but it helps to have a force like we have. We were ready for a second wave. We were all set to go, but we don't think we're going to need it.
There's about 17 billion worth of oil reserves in Venezuela.
More.
Is that going to be?
You mean trillion?
And is that going to be
Did you
something?
say billion or trillion?
I said billion.
You said 17 billion? It's much more than that.
Okay, so what is going to happen to those reserves?
Well, we're going to run everything. We're going to run it, fix it. We'll have elections at the right time. The main thing you have to fix, it's a broken country. There's no money. There's inflation. Like we would have had, if I didn't win this election, we would have been Venezuela on steroids. Lindsay would know that. You might say something on that because we were talking before. We would have had a doubling up of very bad things that cost us a lot of money, like welfare, frankly. We wouldn't have had jobs. And instead of having $18 trillion in, we would have had at least $5 to $10 trillion leaving the country. So our costs would have gone up, and all of the money that's, we're setting a record, and it's long broken. And that's it. That's after 10 months. We haven't included the 11th month yet. So we think we're going to hit over $20 trillion. The all-time record is 3 by another country known as China. About 10 years ago, they did 3. We're going to do close to 20 trillion. By the way, there has never been anything like this ever before. And it's all because of tariffs and the election, but it's because of tariffs.
There was a time.
Without tariffs, we wouldn't have 10 cents being invested.
There was a time back in 2016, and I remember your RNC speech, and you were saying that regime change and nation building.
Where?
When you were speaking at the RNC back in 2016,
Go ahead,
you were criticizing regime change and nation building, the U.S. being involved in that. It seems obviously that your stance has changed on that. What led to that? The end is the U.S. nation building now. Is that?
This isn't a country that's on the other side of the world. This isn't a country like we have to travel 24 hours in an airplane. This is Venezuela. It's in our area, the Don Road Doctrine.
So is that what you would say, that we're in the business of nation building now?
We're in the business of having countries around us that are viable and successful, and where the oil is allowed to freely come out because that's good. It gets the prices down. That's good for our country. Now, we have a very sick neighbor. It's not a neighbor, but it's close to a neighbor, and that's Venezuela. It's very sick. Colombia is very sick too, run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. And he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. He has cocaine mills and cocaine factories. He's not going to be doing it very long.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and
it sounds good to me.
Secretary Rubio mentioned.
You know why? Because they kill a lot of people. Yeah.
Secretary Rubio mentioned Cuba yesterday in his remarks. Does the U.S. have a plan to do something?
Well, Cuba always survived because of Venezuela. Now they won't have that money coming in. They won't have the income coming in. A lot of Cubans were killed yesterday. You know that. A lot of Cubans were killed.
Do you know how many?
The bodyguards. No, they're looking, but there was a lot of death on the other side. No death on our side, but there was a lot of death on the other side, unfortunately. But a lot of Cubans were killed yesterday, trying to protect him.
There's been protesters killed in Iran. You said we were locked and loaded, ready to go. What is the line there for when the U.S. is going to get involved in those protests?
We'll take a look. We're watching it very closely. If they start killing people like they have in the past, I think they're going to get hit very hard by the United States.
Can I just add something? So when he first got elected in January, we met, biggest comeback ever. We talked about
You think so, really? I didn't feel it was a comeback, actually.
So
Because the first one was...
the bottom line is, we talked about a drug caliphate in our backyard. We had Venezuela, we have Cuba, we have Colombia in our backyard. And these 3 countries have been condemned ever since I've been in politics. Joe Biden put a $25 billion bounty on Maduro's head. Chris Smith, today he got inaugurated, said, I hope Trump will hold Maduro's feet to the fire. You did. So what has he done? He's going to clear our backyard of a drug caliphate, countries run by narco-terrorist dictators who murder, rape, send drugs into our country to kill thousands of our citizens. To my Democratic friends, you should be celebrating this. When bin Laden went down, I was the first to applaud President Obama. This was one of the most sophisticated military operations in the history of the country. What they were able to do was amazing. They knew we were coming. We had a good part of the Navy, and they were able to capture this man alive. No military in the world could have done it. And as to this commander-in-chief, he did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered. We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America, not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans. This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
Do you think you're going to
By the way, you mentioned something that's interesting. Lindsay mentioned Bin Laden. I wrote about Bin Laden 1 year before the attack on the World Trade Center. And I said, you got to go after Bin Laden. It was in my book. And very few people want to say that, but it was in my book. You know that. I think you've actually talked about it. But if they would have listened to me, they would have taken out Bin Laden, and you wouldn't have had the World Trade Center tragedy.
Yeah, this is certainly going
Did you know that? I predicted Bin Laden.
I learned something every day.
No, but did you hear that?
Well, I
you
did
know
now.
that?
I just heard it right
No,
now.
I wrote a book. It was 1 year before the attack that the book came out, and it talked about, there's a whole page, a whole section dedicated to a guy named Bin Laden who's a bad guy who you have to take out.
So I'll get the book. But right after the election, he told me, I'm going to clean up our backyard. Now, this was before he took office. This is one of the president's priorities, is to make sure that people in our backyard, narco-terrorist states, will not continue to kill Americans without the number of people that will be alive today because Venezuela will be in different hands is going to be tens of thousands. This is something to be celebrated,
And not
whether you
just-
like him or not.
Not just Venezuela. It's what's coming out of Venezuela
Yes.
in the form of ocean-going and Gulf-going and sea-going boats. Every time we knock out a boat, and we've done a lot of them, we did 3 over the last few days. They're very rare now. You don't see too many of them.
Hard to recruit.
But drugs by sea are down 97%. Think of that. And now we're going to stop them by land too. The land is easy. We had to do the sea before we did the land because it just works out.
Yeah, you were just talking about the land, but it sounded like
And,
you laid
and by
out-
the way, you have to do something with Mexico. Mexico has to get their act together because they're pouring through Mexico, and we're going to have to do something. We'd love Mexico to do it. They're capable of doing it, but unfortunately, the cartels are very strong in Mexico.
I remember one time you actually, speaking of Mexico, I asked you about Claudia Sheinbaum, and you told me at one point you had offered to send U.S. troops into
True, I did.
Mexico to combat drug trafficking there. Is that something you would
Well, I
still
like
to her
Claudia.
about?
I think she's a terrific person. I would say every single time I talk to her, I offered to send troops.
And she's just not willing?
She's concerned. She's a little afraid.
Mm.
The cartels are running Mexico. Whether you like it or not, it's
Like
not
it or
nice to
not.
say. But
It's
the
a fact.
cartels are running Mexico.
It's a
And
fact.
speaking of those U.S. troops, I mean, one thing that Americans and a lot of people are wondering, you just sounded like you weighed out another strike, another land strike at least in Venezuela. You sound like you weighed that out. But,
Well, we didn't need it.
but,
We were prepared to do a second strike if we needed it. We're totally prepared.
but that's off
We're
the
still
table.
prepared.
That's off the table now.
No, it's not. If they don't behave, we will do a second strike.
Will you demand
The
that
question is
Venezuela-
the American troops, are they going to be on the ground? They're doing any kind of peacekeeping. I think Americans are very
It depends on what happens. It depends a little bit on the new administration, if you want to call it.
So if you see that pushback from Rodriguez and ultimately
Well, I don't think there was pushback. I think that,
she
frankly,
called it,
you hear a different person than I hear.
really? So you have spoken with her?
We talked to them, yeah.
Oh, you did speak.
They've been very good.
Because she called it kidnapping of Maduro.
It's all right. It's not a bad term. Go ahead.
No, are you going to demand that Delcy Rodriguez let opposition figures return or free any political prisoners?
We haven't gotten to that yet. Right now, what we want to do is fix up the oil, fix up the country, bring the country back, and then have elections.
No. Is it
But
fair?
we better bring the country back. Otherwise, you're gonna have a mess that's so bad. It was really bad. It's going to get a lot worse unless we go in and fix it.
Is the U.S. going to reopen its embassy in Caracas or get the DEA?
We're thinking about it. We've been asked to do it.
You
We've
had
actually been asked to do it.
Do you think
you had Putin and on the phone, of course, and then Zelensky at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
You told me that
Numerous times.
you told me that your New Year's resolution was peace on earth. Do you think that 2026, if you could set a deadline of when the Russia-Ukraine
I don't
war,
do deadlines, but I would say that, like as an example, Thailand and Cambodia.
well, where
I
does
was
it-
very
where does
proud
it
of that.
actually
Wait a
stand
minute. And
between
they started
Russia-
up again and they got it solved.
Where does it
I
actually
give myself 1/4 of a point for that. So now I'm 8 1/4 points because they started up Thailand and Cambodia, and now it's okay.
So where does it actually stand between Russia
I think
and
we'll have a
Ukraine
deal
right now?
at some point, hopefully in the not too distant. So I don't know if you saw the numbers just came out. 30,000 soldiers were killed this current month.
And there was that intelligence.
30,000. 27,000 the month before.
You and Senator Graham discussed additional Russia sanctions.
We discuss it all the time. There's nothing else I talk to him. I don't consider him very exciting to talk to, except when we're talking about legislation. And we talk about legislation all the time. You think that's an exciting relationship? It's not. But we talk a lot about legislation, and we have great legislation coming. You want to tell them?
So the tariff bill. So here's what I believe. I don't think we could have secured the border without the threat of tariffs. I don't think we'd have a European trade deal without the threat of tariffs. So if you want to end this conflict, then put pressure on Putin's customers. He sanctioned the two largest oil companies in Russia, which is the biggest pressure anybody's put on Putin since the war started. But we have 85 co-sponsors to give this president.
It's hurting Russia very bad, the sanctions.
Oh, yeah. So this bill would allow.
And India also is full.
Yes, sir. So he put a 25% tariff on India for buying Russian oil. I was at the Indian ambassador's house about a month ago, and all he wanted to talk about is how they're buying less Russian oil. Would you tell the president to relieve the tariff? This stuff works. So I'm hoping we'll bring the bill up, and it's from 0 to 500. He picks the number. Nobody else does. But if you're buying cheap Russian oil, keeping Putin's war machine going, we're trying to give the president the ability to make that a hard choice by tariffs. I really do believe that what he did with India is the chief reason India is now buying substantially less Russian oil. So I hope we pass this bill soon. And after
They
this,
wanted to make me happy, basically. He wanted to. Modi's a very good man.
Yes.
He's a good guy. He knew I was not happy, and it was important to make me happy. They do trade.
Yeah.
And we could raise tariffs on them very quickly, and it would be
people are
very
afraid
bad
of that.
for them.
All of that to say, you told me you weren't very thrilled.
And I'll tell you something, the Russian economy is lousy. But what's really lousy is the Venezuelan economy. The Venezuelan economy is, I think, the worst economy I've ever seen. If you look at inflation, things are doubling every day.
It's stolen blood.
It's a disaster. We got to fix the country fast.
President Trump, are there going to be any more? You said the oil companies are going to go in there. Are there any other companies that you've talked to about dealing with Venezuela? Maybe Mr. Lundin could talk about that. Are there any other corporations, entities outside?
Any outside of the oil business. Well, the oil business, yes, but outside, yes. Howard, you want to
They have steel, you have minerals, right? All the critical minerals. They have a great mining history that's gone rusty. So steel, aluminum, minerals, I mean, this is all, it's a rich. It was once upon a time one of the great economies and cultures of the world, and it was destroyed. And now President Trump is going to fix it and bring it back
got
for the
potential.
Venezuela.
But it's not easy.
Oh,
It's
no.
really gone bad.
Any rare earth?
But it's got potential. What?
Maybe any rare earth minerals?
They have rare earth, but everybody has rare earth.
What's
Rare earth is not rare. What's rare is the processing.
We got
We're
almost
doing
all of it.
processing plants all over. That's right. There's no such thing as rare earth. The rare earth is everywhere. What isn't everywhere is the processing of rare earth, and we have a lot of places going up right now.
One thing we haven't heard you specifically react to is the Minnesota fraud that we've seen play out.
Well, it just doesn't get worse. I've reacted. It's almost not even believable. This very stupid, low IQ governor, he's a very stupid man because, I had a campaign against him with JD, and he's a stupid man, and he's a corrupt politician. And the Somalians are ripping off our country to the tune of, looks like $19 billion, but that's only what they can find. So usually when you look at it 19, that would mean it could be 50. But the numbers are astronomical. Think of it. They have a dead country. They don't have government. They don't have anything. They don't have a military. All they do is run around shooting people and trying to capture ships. We don't let them take ships anymore. You know why? We use the same exact missile on them that we use on the drug carriers. And it's very effective.
So
You notice there's nobody capturing ships anymore? Because as they head out to go capture the ship, and the ship doesn't want to fire back because it's very flammable stuff in many cases. And the insurance companies don't want, because they build $1 billion ship, and they don't want anybody firing rockets into the ship. But we're hitting them so hard, and it's very similar. Same missile system. It's called Deadly Accurate. And do you notice that ships aren't being taken anymore? The pirates are.
That's right. I hadn't thought about
The
that.
pirates aren't. Well, no.
No Somali birds.
It's actually very easy. They head out. We say, guess what? There's pirates. Bing. That's the end of the pirates. The shipping business is coming back because see, these are little things that we're doing, and I'm doing it not just for American ships. I'm doing it worldwide because we don't want ships taken by Somalia pirates. But what they are doing is they're stealing money from the American taxpayer. And every one of them should be forced to leave this country, including Ilhan Omar, who's a total crook. And she's one of the leaders of it. Not the only, because she's not that smart. But think of it. $19 billion at least they've stolen from Minnesota and from the United States. It's actually more from the United States because Minnesota puts in, and we're not going to pay it anymore. We're going to have Walz go pay. We're not going to pay them, and we're not going to pay California, and we're not going to pay Illinois with that big slob of a governor that they have that doesn't want. We brought down crime by 25%. He didn't do anything. He's not doing anything. But they want us to leave. He had a day where they had 17 murders, not too long ago. 17 murders and 77 people shot, but 17 died. And then he talks about, we can handle it. He can't handle it. But we pull back, and we'll go in at the appropriate time. But we're the ones that brought the crime down. We brought it down 20%. They didn't bring it down. Pritzker didn't bring it down. Same thing with Gavin Newsom. If we didn't go in to Los Angeles 7 months ago when they had the riots, even the police commission, the head of police, said if we didn't have the federal government go in, we would have lost total control of the city of Los Angeles, and they would have had to cancel the Olympics. Think of that.
speaking of Los Angeles, the National Guard, you pulled out the National Guard out of Portland.
We did.
In Los Angeles.
And you know what? You know that Portland, we got it down to almost no crime. You know that? But we pulled it out. We had a Supreme Court decision. We can go back. We're allowed to go back in. But we'll go back in when the crime starts. Look, the crime will soon start because they now know that we're out. And at the appropriate time, we'll go back in. And we may, if we're allowed to. The most powerful thing we haven't used the Insurrection Act.
You're considering using the insurrection.
I've always considered it, but we haven't needed it anywhere. 48% of the presidents of this country have used it. Bush used it, I think, 22 times or something. You know that, right? I mean, Bush the elder.
Now, what are your short-term next 2 weeks? What do you need from Delcy Rodriguez? You threatened
Just total access. We need total access. We need access to the oil and to other things in their country that allow us to rebuild their country.
What other things?
A lot of things. Roads that aren't built, bridges that are falling down. Yeah, bridges that are falling down, nobody can go anywhere.
And on Greenland,
On Greenland now?
Yeah, on Greenland.
How did we come up to Greenland?
So, do you expect to take an action against Greenland?
Well, I don't want to talk about Greenland. Let's talk about Venezuela, Russia, Ukraine. We'll worry about Greenland in about 2 months. Let's talk about Greenland in 20 days.
On Venezuela, we talk so much about energy.
By the way, I will say this about Greenland. We need Greenland from a national security situation. It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you that. You know what Denmark did recently to boost up security in Greenland? They added one more dog sled. It's true.
Sir,
They thought that was a great move.
what would the justification be for a claim to Greenland? What would the justification
Oh, I don't want to talk about Greenland now. I just say this. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And The European Union needs us to have it, and they know that.
I think there's some
that
confusion
the
about-
operation in Venezuela will affect your relationship with Xi Jinping in China?
No, I don't think so. I have a very good relationship. We have the power of tariffs, and he has other powers on us.
Are you still planning to travel to see him in April?
Yeah, I'll be going in April.
I think there's some confusion from Americans and maybe the community in the world when it comes to what you said about Rodriguez earlier today in a phone
Why?
interview. You
Why?
said that she would face the same fate, if not worse, than
Worse.
Maduro. But it sounds like you're talking to her on the phone
I am.
and wanting to work
Not
with
me,
her.
my people are
And
just the
you-
same.
Are considering her in power. Can you just clarify where you stand on Delcy Rodriguez
I
right
don't
now
have
being
to.
in
I don't
power?
have to tell you. I just say that she will face a situation probably worse than Maduro, because Maduro gave up immediately.
So she could also
He raised his
capture-
hand. He gave up, and he did the right thing, but he gave up. So we were so effective, and it was so fast and violent. It was very violent, but we were so effective. He raised his hands. He gave up.
What was the most violent moment during
I don't want to tell you.
Did you get a
There are some bad moments, but there were some very violent moments. I don't want to tell you.
Did you get a briefing at all on Maduro's first night in U.S.
Yes.
custody, and what can you tell us?
I have a
about
total briefing on every aspect of it, but I don't think it's appropriate to talk to the press about it. You'll find out.
When it comes to him in court tomorrow, I mean, what's the end game here with Maduro? Does
There
he
is
just
no
rot
end.
in
We're
a
just
US
going to go
prison?
through a slog of a trial. The judge is very respected, Judge Hellerstein. He's a highly respected judge. We'll see how we do. The case it's infallible. And people are so happy with what we've done. You go down to Miami, you go down to a lot of places, and they're all dancing in the streets of this country. Now he was a rough man. Killed millions of people. He killed millions and millions of people.
After he stands
Can
trial,
I just say something? We got that. This is a good thing, not a bad thing. President Biden put a $25 billion bounty on the guy's head. Why? Because he was a horrible criminal, murderer, poisoning our people. Every administration has been saying he's a threat to our country. He's a bad guy. This is the first guy that's actually done something about it. Here's the story for me. He could be in Turkey today, but he's in New York. So if you tell people in Cuba, you need to stop being a communist dictatorship threatening America, you should go somewhere else. You better take the offer. Maduro has nobody to blame but himself. He gave him a way out. He chose to defy Trump and the U.S. military, and his ass is in jail where he deserves to be. And every president has said the same thing, but he did it.
One of the things that is happening, and I think you see it all the time, Howard, you've seen it, that Cuba is ready to fall.
Yes.
Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know if they're going to hold out.
Was there a final
But
straw?
Cuba now has no income. They got all of their income from Venezuela, from the Venezuelan oil. They're not getting any of it. And Cuba literally is ready to fall. And you have a lot of great Cuban Americans that are going to be very happy about this.
Marco Rubio has really had your ear, it seems, throughout this entire process. I know that Vice President Vance was just down the street when this whole operation was playing out, but would you say that Marco Rubio has your ear more than the Vice President right
No,
now?
they both do. No, JD is very smart, doing a great job, and so is Mark. No, both.
It sounds like
I would
he's
say
been
equal.
the go-to, and you were just talking about Cuba and what could come next there. Are you considering U.S. action in Cuba?
We're not. I think it's just going to fall. I don't think we need any action. It looks like it's going down. It's going down for the count. You ever watch a fight?
I have.
They go down for the count. And Cuba looks like it's going down. What do you think, Howard?
It's going down. They've lived off of Venezuela, right? The economics were all Venezuelan, right? That's why you said the protective force of Maduro was Cuban, right? They were Cuban guards. So they were just paying Cuba when that money stopped.
Don't hire him in the future.
Yeah, they weren't very good.
People from our country who were forced to come over, they really didn't want, they were from Cuba. People from different countries like to stay in those countries, whatever, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And people want to go back to Cuba, and they want to work in Cuba, but Cuba's going down for the count. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, is Elon Musk back in the fold? You had dinner with him last night at Mar-a-Lago.
Leah?
Elon.
Elon's great.
Did you guys chat?
I say about Elon, he's 80% super genius and 20% he makes mistakes. But he's a good guy. He's a well-meaning person.
Can I ask you about one more thing that I've been wanting to ask you the last couple of days? You said that you were very
He's got a lot of questions.
I do have a lot of
Tell
questions.
him who you were. Go ahead.
I'm with News Nation. My name's Libby D. Excellent. So you said that you were really very angry with the Ukrainian President Zelensky if he was the one who conducted that strike on Putin's residence.
I don't believe that strike happened.
Right. So Putin had said in that phone call to you that strike happened. You came out and said that, and you believed Putin. There was some criticism.
There is something that happened fairly nearby, but had nothing to do with this.
Why did you believe Putin in that moment and then go say that about Ukraine?
Because nobody knew at that moment. I mean, that was the first I heard about it.
So why not?
He said that his house was attacked. We don't believe that happened, now that we've been able to check.
Yeah.
But that was the first we ever heard about it. We just hope that Russia and Ukraine get it settled.
Amen.
It's costing us nothing. In fact, we make money because unlike Biden gave $350 billion, gave it away. Now, I got a lot of it back because we did a rare earth deal going into rare earth. And we're going to get a lot of the money back, maybe all of the money, maybe more than all of the money. But we get paid now whenever we send anything, they pay. So this isn't an economic thing for us. This is a soul. This is a situation where on average 25,000 souls, 25,000 soldiers mostly, and some people from Kiev and different cities, but a very small number by comparison. But 25,000 to 30,000 soldiers are being killed every single month. And they're not from America. They're from Russia and they're from Ukraine. And if I can get it stopped, I'd like to get it stopped. And I think we will. Thank you very much, everybody.
You've talked about returning some control to American companies. Did that play at all into your decision to capture Maduro?
No. What really played is the fact that he sent millions of people into our country from prisons and from mental institutions and drug dealers. And every drug addict in that country, in his country, was sent into our country. Think of that. Every single drug addict from Maduro's country, which isn't really his country, and it's certainly not his country anymore. Every drug addict and every drug dealer has been sent into our country. Now we're getting them back, but it's a very laborious job to get them back. Very hard job and of course, we're not getting a lot of good backup from certain judges, from certain radical left. But we're doing well on appeals because the people doing the appeals seems that the judges are much more sane. What these super radical left judges are doing to our country, it's incredible. But if you take a look, Maduro sent hundreds of thousands and even millions of people from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, drug dealers, drug addicts, everybody. He sent anybody with a problem to it. It can never be forgiven. And other countries have done the same, but nothing like Maduro's done.
During your campaign, you talked about ending American foreign intervention. What changed your mind with Venezuela? What kind of grew your interest there?
The fact that he sent drugs into our country, we're stopping it rapidly with what we're doing with the sea, because they come in, a lot of it comes in by sea, but it's not coming. The drugs coming in, as I said before, by sea are down 97%. You should be saying, thank you very much, President Trump. Great job. Now they can't get anybody to pilot those boats. It's 97%. I'm trying to figure out who are the other 3%.
Would you say that Operation Resolve?
What's your response to supporters who voted for you, who may be glad and relieved to see Maduro in custody?
The voters that voted for me, yeah. Let me just tell you, the voters that voted for me are thrilled. They said, this is what we voted for.
So let's just think about it. What is the right response when a country sends in tens of thousands of people to overwhelm your system? When a country is a narco-terrorist state that floods your country with cocaine, that's aligned with Hezbollah, what's the right response? You blow up the boat before they get here. You take down the source of the problem. President Trump didn't wake up one day and say, hey, let's take Venezuela. He did what other people talked about, but didn't have the balls or the guts to do it. This is a good thing. This is not interventionism. This is making America safer. We're going to be more prosperous because of the business deals. There are going to be Americans alive today because he shut down a narco-terrorist state called Venezuela. This is a good thing, not a bad thing.
And the oil companies are going to go in and rebuild their system. They're going to spend billions of dollars, and they're going to take the oil out of the ground, and we're taking back what they stole. Remember, they stole our property. It was the greatest theft in the history of America. Nobody has ever stolen our property like they have. They took our oil away from us. They took the infrastructure away. And all that infrastructure is rotted and decayed. And the oil companies are going to go in and rebuild it. We're not going to spend very much money at all, if anything. But the oil companies are going to go, we're going to take our oil back. But we're going to also do things that, when you look at what he did, the drugs are terrible. But also terrible, he sent hundreds of thousands of people into our country that should not be here. And that means from prisons, that means Tren de Aragua, the gang, Tren de Aragua, that comes out of Maduro's country. He was very friendly with that gang. Well, they're having a hard time right now. You know, we had Tren de Aragua all over Washington, D.C., and they got the hell beat out of them. Washington, D.C. is the safest city right now in the United States. Thank you very much,
Mr. President,
everybody.
if you had to sum up Operation Absolute Resolve, would you say that it was about oil or it was about regime change?
It's about peace on earth.
How is it peace on earth?
Peace on earth. We got to have peace. It's our hemisphere. The Monroe Doctrine was very important when it was done, and other presidents, a lot of them, they lost sight of it. I didn't. I didn't lose sight. But it really is. It's peace on earth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Welcome, one and all. How you doing? Good to be with you on this Monday evening. I wanted to get in that gaggle press conference there, and really kind of get into, where President Trump is in this whole thing, and watched a lot of news today, mainstream news. And it's amazing. The narrative is he's not talking to Congress and he's invading another country. And they keep coming back to that, And we know that President Trump isn't doing anything without getting legal, precedents first and making sure that he's crossing his T's and dotting his I's. We know that to be the case. So welcome, one and all. Thanks for being here on this Monday evening. And for all of you who joined us on Saturday night, thank you for that. I got a lot of great feedback on that with Julie Donuts and Sarge Petrie and Sir Oliver Pollock. It was a great show. If you haven't seen it, please check it out, and you'll be glad you did. 5-hour shows. I didn't move from this chair for 5 hours. I'm not doing that again. I'll get up and I'll move around. I'll do something, but man, I didn't move from this chair. I was locked and loaded. Garrett, the Monroe Doctrine. That's a great question. That was a doctrine that states that in our hemisphere, in the Western Hemisphere, other countries can't infiltrate countries in the Western Hemisphere. I had done a little something on it a while back, and I'll see if I can pull that up. But yeah, now he's calling it the Monroe Doctrine, which is pretty hilarious. And I came in at 2 hours, was brilliant. Thank you, or brillianter. Let's see. Wanted to see. He did mention the human smuggling of prisoners, though, and drug users. Yeah, this is pretty much this Maduro situation is really heating up. Now, Maduro pleaded not guilty, as did his wife, which means there will be a trial and there will be evidence presented. And that evidence, hopefully it'll go quicker, but like President Trump said, it'll be long and drawn out just simply because of the nature of our system. But also, we're going to see the evidence, and it's going to be very interesting what we uncover, and especially when it comes to the voting and the infiltration of our elections. Now, remember, China has had a very close relationship with Venezuela, and we know that China is tied to the election interference, not just with the COVID, but also with the ballots and with the control over the elections that we saw, in some of those ballot counting precincts. There were packages from an overnight carrier from China. Remember, we showed that to you. So, but let me see if I can bring it up. Let me bring that up because there's a lot of talk about it. And let me bring this up for us here. Okay. Where did I go? Where did it go? There we go. So the Monroe Doctrine. I got to turn my fan on here. Hold on. Getting a little warm under the lights here. Okay. So just a simple grok. The Monroe Doctrine is a foundational U.S. foreign policy statement articulated by President James Monroe in a 7th annual message to Congress on December 2nd, 1823. It established the Western Hemisphere as a sphere of influence for the United States, exposing further European involvement in the Americas. In the early 1820s, many Latin American colonies gained independence from Spain and Portugal, raising concerns that European powers, particularly the Holy Alliance of Russia, Austria, and Prussia, or resurgent Spain and France, might attempt to recolonize them or install puppet monarchs. Britain, motivated by trade interests, proposed a joint statement with the U.S. to deter this, but Secretary of State John Quincy Adams advocated a unilateral U.S. declaration to avoid entangling alliances. The doctrine built on earlier American ideals of isolationism from George Washington's farewell address. 3 core ideas: non-colonization. The American continents were henceforth not to be considered as subjects for future colonization by any European powers. Non-intervention. Any European attempt to interfere in the political affairs of independent nations in the Western Hemisphere or to impose monarchical systems on republican governments would be viewed as dangerous to our peace and safety and a potentially hostile act against U.S. Reciprocal non-interference. U.S. pledged not to interfere in existing European colonies or internal European affairs and wars. So it respected existing colonies, British or Spanish holdings, but drew a line against new ones. And yeah. So that's it in a nutshell there. And it's very, very much something that we talked about here on the show. One of you brought it up, actually, and we got into it a couple of weeks ago. Yes. Padilla, one of my boys has seasonal wrestling tickets there, and the other makes it to many football games. It sounds you're the Hawkeye, yeah. Very cool. Did you ever see me play back in the 80s, 83 to 85? Let's see. Yeah, so it's Maggie says, I remember studying the Monroe Doctrine in high school history. Yeah. So the big thing that we're seeing here is that we are basically having this Venezuela situation. Everyone's talking about, oh, Trump just wants the oil. Well, there's a lot more to it than that. But why are we giving China the oil? Why are we allowing one of our enemies, especially one of our trade partners that has heavily been used against us to take away our manufacturing? Why are we allowing them to get this cheap oil? Okay, and so it is, in the interests of our country to step in, and take control of this situation. And so I'm glad I'm glad President Trump is doing that. There's a reason why Biden put a $25 million bounty on Maduro's head, because he was and is a criminal, and Trump just finally did it. And so this is a good thing, my friends. This is a good thing what's happening. And we're going to see it. So I wanted to also take you to kind of an odd, out of place, if you will, post by President Trump on Truth Social. Pregnant women, this was at 5:19 today. Don't use Tylenol unless absolutely necessary. Don't give Tylenol to your young child for virtually any reason. Break up the MMR shot into 3 totally separate shots, not mixed. Take chicken pox shot separately. Take hepatitis B shot at 12 years old or older. And importantly, take vaccine in 5 separate medical visits, President DJT. So kind of an out of place. So let's go to the drops. Well, very important drop and a very important post, obviously. And I'm going to get to the reason why here in a moment, other than the actual content that it's presenting here. But if we look at the Q drop, first of all, I went to Snedheads, went to research Q drops, went to capital letter counter, saw the capital letters are 260. We drop the 0 and we go to drop 26. Think about it logically. The only way is the military, fully controlled, save and spread once 11.3 verifies as first marker. Biggest advance drop on post online. Now, also, I was taken to 24 tonight because Tim Walz announced that he would not be seeking re-election because of all the, fraud that's being unveiled. So I went to drop 24. Any person making statements they will not be seeking re-election was put in submission. For the betterment of the country, not all will be prosecuted and all will do as told. I think he will be prosecuted. You will see more of this occur, not normal yet disregarded, and even on the Democrat side. So very pertinent. And considering President Trump took us to 26, game theory takes us to 25. Follow up to last post, return to comments regarding Pelosi and John McCain. Some of us refuse to say his name for a reason. This all has meaning, everything stated, big picture stuff. Few positions allow for this direct knowledge. Proof to begin 11.3. We all sincerely appreciate the work you do. Keep up the good fight. The flow of information is vital. God bless. And of course, 11.3 is mentioned back to back here. Okay. So let's, and here's the conversation is also very much like, okay, what about Cuba? Well, he's talking about Cuba's going to fall. Colombia, he called that guy out. Okay. Mexico. He's calling out Mexico for all the same stuff. He made the cartels terrorist organizations. Anybody doing business with the cartels is a terrorist organization then as well. And that's where he's going after these people, right? And by the way, Ravens Wings, Trump's True Social reached 11.3 million followers the day they took down Maduro. Great catch. I did see that. Thank you for mentioning that. My daughter isn't vaccinated, her 7-month-old, so docs won't see him. She can find the doctors that will. But there are doctors that you just need to find the doctor that will. Let's see. Okay, so I want to take all this really all these leaders are coming out. And remember this. I want to take you to this because this is almost like a script, my friends. Check this out. You've seen this. Hold on. Where's my volume? Oh, there's no volume. Okay. Come for me. I'll wait for you. Right here in Miraflores. Get here quick. Coward. Talking to Trump. Okay, that's why. And then they show the operation. But he taunted Trump, didn't he? Right? He taunted Trump very, very clearly. He did so. So, and then he, basically fucked around and found out, right? And so, but what's interesting is the woman that just got sworn in just 2 days ago, she demanded they return Maduro and his wife. And meanwhile, she got sworn in today. And hold on, let me find it. But the Colombian leader, for example, here is Nicolas Ernesto Maduro Guerra, the prince, dangerous son of Maduro. He's a narco-terrorist drug lord, declares he will get revenge against Trump. I will take him out for what he has done to my family and my country. So we're seeing more threats, towards President Trump for this. Venezuela, this was 2 days ago. Supreme Military Commander declares he's now the de facto dictator of Venezuela. States say will defend Caracas until the last man. And that's exactly what would happen. This is the perp walk. Okay. And let me find U.S. Homeland Security News is just dropping some bombs. So this kind of speaks to the Monroe Doctrine. Listen to
if the purpose
Secretary
of the
of State.
operation was to capture Maduro and bring him to justice, why does the United States need to take over the Venezuelan oil industry?
Well, we don't need to. First of all, let me go back up. We don't need Venezuela's oil. We have plenty of oil in the United States. What we're not going to allow is for the oil industry in Venezuela to be controlled by adversaries of the United States. You have to understand, why does China need their oil? Why does Russia need their oil? Why does Iran need their oil? They're not even in this continent. This is the Western Hemisphere. This is where we live. And we're not going to allow the Western Hemisphere to be a base of operation for adversaries, competitors.
If the purpose of the operation was to capture Maduro and bring him to justice, why does the United States?
So this is obviously the CIA narrative that it's all about the oil, right? And this woman is she's CIA Central. And so, but but this is what they do, and they're trying to, gotcha with Rubio, and they're and here's Kristi Noem as well, speaking on the subject.
Well, we have to bring him to justice, and then absolutely he will face the consequences for his crimes. But let's remember, Jillian, that what has happened, thousands and thousands of Tren de Aragua members have come into this country and perpetuated crimes. We have brought them to justice. We've arrested them. We've gotten them out of the country as well, sent them back to Venezuela. We're going to continue deporting criminals to face the consequences in their country. And that's our hope, is that we can continue to do this action now that President Trump has addressed Maduro and his wife and brought them to justice, and will continue to go after the other individuals named in this indictment. We have lost millions of American lives because of the drug trafficking that they have perpetuated on our people. And it's so interesting to watch people defend those criminals, these dictators, these individuals that, Maduro was not a credible elected leader in Venezuela. And to watch individuals go out and protest and make threats on his behalf is unspeakable. And so this is a time when our country really will find out who loves America, who wants the freedoms and liberties that our country represents, and how they're willing to stand up and to defend it like President Trump is.
Following up on a...
So, there's gunfire that's broken out in Venezuela. I was just going to go to that. And this is right at the supposedly at the castle, or at the place where Maduro was, and let me find that. I think I just had that pulled up here. Breaking news. Is this it? No. Some good stuff. Here it is. Okay. This is from Eric Doherty. Bruce Rockus. So that's happening right now. Very interesting that's going on, but also I wanted to take you to a couple of the posts that track the pizza delivery. It's called the Pentagon Pizza Report, and we've talked about this before on the show. Various pizzerias nearby the Pentagon report above average traffic. Freddy's Beach Bar is experiencing very high traffic as of 6:11 p.m. Eastern Time. So that's today. And basically they track, okay, if the pizzas are being delivered, then people are working overtime at the Pentagon. And busier than usual. Domino's, Papa John's, busier than usual. Busier than usual. We the Pizza, Freddy's Beach Bar, busier than usual. So sounds like people are ordering in, and important to know that has been a barometer, if you will, in the past of kinetic action by the Pentagon, that they have to go take care of business. So they got to stay there. They got to work overtime. Right. So what is going on here? So because it obviously, well, let me play this for you. This is from yesterday.
Tengo que decir al señor Marco Rubio, hermano, si me va a meter preso, a ver si puede. Si me quiere poner ¿cómo es? La pijama naranja.
Testing your Spanish. Let me go to this one.
A mí no me amenace, aquí lo espero si quiere. A mí no me
Basically, come and get me, coward. I'm waiting for you here.
amenace, aquí lo espero si quiere. No acepto invasiones, no acepto misiles, no acepto asesinatos, acepto inteligencia. Vengan aquí a hablar con inteligencia y lo recibimos y hablamos de tú a tú.
Yeah, I'd like to find one that is translated here. Let's see. So he's talking shit. And this is a meme. Holy shit! Colombian President Gustavo Petro just went after Trump. A clan of pedophiles wants to destroy our democracy to keep Epstein's list from coming out. They send warships to kill fishermen and threaten our neighbor with invasion for their oil. And this is exactly how the world sees this administration, a clan of pedos. What a fucking embarrassment. This is obviously somebody's, that he didn't say this part, but he did say the clan of pedophiles. So this is maybe he's next. Maybe he's next. This is come get me, coward. I'm waiting for you here. Now notice that the verbiage that Maduro used was also coward. So is that the trigger word for this all happening? Yeah, wait and see. But this is the only mention of coward in the drops. But notice that those two words, that word was used twice by Maduro and now Colombia. August 12th, 2018, a repost. I don't think real Donald Trump understands he's being removed from that office one way or another. If the law fails America, we remove him with our bare hands. He has only 1/5 of America's support, and they are mostly cowardly, out of shape, poor, uneducated rednecks. That's what they think of us. I don't know about you. This is an anon. I don't know about you all, but I am in great shape, not poor, highly educated. Although I am in the country, I'm not a redneck and most definitely not a coward. Bitch threatening to remove POTUS with her bare hands. Q says you are the majority by far and growing. Fake news fake news's purpose is to project false narratives. And that's very obvious. Yeah. Well, we don't know if it's Venezuelans shooting at their own capital. It may be another action. We don't know. Yeah, Trump will have the Colombian president by the end of this week. Yeah, we did hear about that, right? That they were shooting at their own drones and they thought it was somebody coming to get them. Yeah, fuck around and find out these people are stupid. Yeah. Yeah. Was he really in Caracas? Do you mean Maduro? Certainly for the movie, right? We don't know for real, but we need that narrative to play out anyway, right? So, yeah, tomorrow's the J6 anniversary. Could be a busy day. I would love to see President Trump, come out, or the DOJ come out with something on that so that we can get to the bottom of that once and for all. And maybe that's why, POTUS took us to the Q drop here of 25, Pelosi right there, and John McCain. Proves to begin 11-3. So maybe that's why President Trump took us to 24 and 26 today, so that we would find the 25 and Pelosi And maybe something's going down with Pelosi tomorrow regarding J6. I would love to see it. Here's a post by Sir Oliver, who was on Saturday night, which was awesome. Interesting coincidence. Maduro pled not guilty today, which means there will be a trial, which means there will be discovery of evidence and witnesses called. Let me just check something here. Yeah, good. Okay. And according to Reuters, the judge who presided over his case today began the hearing at 12:02 p.m. Drop 1202 has a photo of a tree. Can anyone tell me what type of tree this is? I'm hearing it's native to the Canary Islands. Isn't the canary some kind of bird as well? Hasn't there been a lot of talk of birds lately? I have this gut feeling. And this, of course, is when does a bird sing? And one of the answers to that is when it's caged. Oliver's not a fan. Well, not that he's not a fan, but we all have our own way of doing drops. And so I go with the dropping the 0 and go to 122, November 6, 2017. What does money buy? How do you prevent tampering? Why are most forms of media left wing? Why is Hollywood left wing? Why is the narrative so important? Why do liberals defer to racism without proof? No proof. Where's HRC's mentor? What party was he affiliated with? Democrat. Proof. What party formed the KKK? So it's all about what party abolished slavery, formed the Confederacy. This is all the Democrats, right? They're attempting to erase history. The black population truly free today or enslaved by the Democrat Party referred back to black population crumbs. Why is this relevant? Why is there an attack the day after bad news is published? Democrats, do you believe in coincidences? Paint a picture. Crumbs will make bread. Operations underway. That's obvious. Operators active. That's obvious. Pray. They need our prayer. Snow White, Godfather 3, Q. So, this big reveal that we're expecting is also going to have to do with the list of congressmen that Maduro's right hand gave us about a month ago that we shared here. And let me make sure I'm getting it to you. And most of those, not all, are Democrat. And by the way, we were just talking about this. Remember when we were talking about his sweatsuit? I said he's sponsored by Nike Saturday. And then I think Julie said, just do it. And I said, just do it, Q. So the memes are already flying. So the let me see if I can get to this. And we're going to get into Minnesota again as well. That's going to be Walz and so forth. I did want to also take you to, we get some good stuff here. This is more of the pizza deal. Papa John's pizza near the Pentagon spiking 1,250% tonight. Just for comparison, the night we attacked Venezuela, it spiked 700%. Something big is about to happen. Domino's, Extreme, District, We the Pizza, Pizzato Pizza, Papa John's Pizza. Looks like it was all peaking tonight at about the dinner time, right? Which most people are, they're going to be ordering at dinner time because they're not going to go home to eat dinner. And so something to keep an eye on. New York Prepper has that. And yes. And so speaking of the hemisphere, the Monroe Doc happened at the UN just today. Here we go.
Entering the United States and increasingly Europe. As Secretary Rubio stated just yesterday, this is the Western Hemisphere. This is where we live. And we're not going to allow the Western Hemisphere to be used as a base of operation for our nation's adversaries and competitors and rivals of the United States. You can't turn Venezuela into the operating hub for Iran, for Hezbollah, for gangs, for Cuban intelligence agents, and other malign actors that control that country. You cannot continue to have the largest energy reserves in the world under the control of adversaries of the United States, under the control of illegitimate leaders, and not benefiting the people of Venezuela, and stolen by a handful of oligarchs inside of Venezuela. But it doesn't stop there. Numerous UN and international human rights organizations have issued reports documenting.
Yeah. So this is they're not apologizing. The administration is without question doubling down. And what you're going to see here is if the UN challenges this, you're going to see, who controls who, and it's not the UN controlling the United States. That's for damn sure. Let me take you to, the other one is Pentagon Pizza Watch. If you want to check that out, Pentagon Pizza Watch. I think I'm going to add this to the Sned heads as well. Pentagon Pizza Watch. So they let you know when shit's going down, and it's pretty accurate. Probability of additional U.S. strikes on Venezuela is currently rising after reports of heavy gunfire in Caracas. That's Polymarket. That was 2 hours ago. Another U.S. strike on Venezuela by January 10. 11% chance. Yeah. So, but it could also be not Venezuela, right? It could very well be something else. Yeah. You're fasting, Heather. Dinner sounds good. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing a fast here soon. Let's see. But what I was looking for, and let me see if I can find this of Congress. Excuse me. This is it. So here we go. Okay. So Venezuela's former chief of national intelligence, Hugo Carvajal, has officially released every U.S. senator who is on the Venezuela list of politicians who have been receiving millions of dollars in kickbacks from the Maduro regime and Venezuelan drug trafficking organizations that make up his government in exchange for using their government positions and influence to undermine President Trump and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth's ongoing war with these narco-terrorists. Every one of these senators is guilty of providing aid and comfort to the enemy during a time of war and has the blood of their fellow American citizens, hundreds of thousands of whom die of drug overdoses every year, at the hands of these criminal drug trafficking organizations that bring deadly drugs into our country on their hands. May each and every one of them be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, and may their names forever live in shame for their treason. Below is every U.S. senator on the Venezuela list. I went over this when this came out. Murkowski, Alaska. Mark Kelly, who was one of the seditious six. Ruben Gallego, Democrat, Arizona. Padilla, Democrat, California. Schiff, California. Bennett, Colorado. Hickenlooper, Colorado. Blumenthal, Connecticut. Murphy, Connecticut. Chris Coons, Delaware. John Ossoff, Georgia. Warnock, Georgia. Schatz, Hawaii. Hirono, Hawaii. Dick Durbin, Illinois. Duckworth, Illinois. All Democrats except Murkowski so far. Grassley, Iowa. Interesting. Joni Ernst, Iowa. Mitch McConnell, Kentucky. Rand Paul, Kentucky. Bill Cassidy, Louisiana. Susan Collins, Maine. These are Republicans. Angus King, Independent, Maine. Chris Van Hollen, Democrat, Maryland. And Angela Alsobrooks, Democrat, Maryland. So handful of Republicans on there, including Grassley. So very interesting, and we'll keep an eye out for that. But basically, what we're seeing is the corruption, the insurrection that President Trump, once there's proof that there's money going from foreign countries into our Congress will be no more. That will be very much, it will expose them without question. I want to share this. Dan Scavino posted this tonight, 46 minutes ago, a 30-second video of the Washington Monument. Let me plug that for you there. That's cool. Did it look to you like they were shooting something like 3i Atlas or something? There's a spaceship and it launches a missile? Interesting. Okay. Very interesting. 30 seconds long. 9:37. Let me see if there's anything. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that, folks. I kicked myself out of my own studio. Yeah. Okay. So Scavino's post here takes us to 9:37. Glimpse. You cannot possibly imagine the size of this. Trust the plan. Trust there are more good than bad. The world is helping. We are not alone. We are all connected in this fight. Patriots unite. We are winning big. Watch this speech. God bless. Watch this speech. Interesting. Well, wouldn't you know it, President Trump did release a speech today. And he has been dropping bombs time in and, just going off the charts right now. But let me show you the video that he did post. And by the way, he reposted Julie Donuts on, I believe it was Sunday. And that was very exciting after we were just talking about that on the show Saturday night. And I think he took us there with a timestamp, so I'm not going to have that right away, but I'll pull that up. By the way, President Trump
is a dictator, plain and simple. The Venezuelan people need our support to recover their democracy and rebuild their country. I'll use sanctions as one of the tools for a comprehensive strategy that includes humanitarian assistance, international pressure, and support for democratic actors in Venezuela to force the regime to embark on the road to a free and fair election. We should be leading the international effort to confront the massive humanitarian crisis in Venezuela.
The Biden administration made a deal with Maduro. No one talks about this. He made a deal with Maduro. Here was the deal. Maduro asked that his nephews, convicted drug traffickers, be released from U.S. prisons. He asked that his chief money launderer, his money man, his bag man, be released from U.S. custody before he stood trial. In exchange, he promised to hold free and fair elections. He got the nephews back, the drug dealers. He got the bag man back, and he never did the free and fair elections. The elections. They stole the elections. Yeah. They suckered Joe Biden. They're not going to sucker Donald Trump.
President Trump just announced on social media that Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, has been captured and flown out of the country.
And I hope what people now understand is we have a president. The 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it. This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, if he says he's serious about something, he means it.
That's a fact, not a joke.
And but I think that the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk and meet with anybody, but don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office, because it's not going to turn out well.
We should be leading the international effort to confront the massive humanitarian crisis in Venezuela.
So, it's just all talk, all show and no go with Biden, but nobody in the media is talking about that. Nobody's, talking about how Biden put up a $25 million bounty. Teresa, specifically, what software? You said you sent me the video. I didn't know where to look. Then now you're saying in Messenger. Is that Facebook Messenger? Because I don't even think I can pull that up in Facebook Messenger. Yes. Okay. I found it. Okay. I don't know if I can play that. Yeah, I'll have to copy and paste it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, right.
I might end the show with that tonight. Thank you, Teresa. This is what Oliver was going to try to get to DC and do. He didn't make it. Teresa, did you go to this? Okay, got that lined up. Okay, thank you for that. News only reports what they're paid to. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. Let's see. Tapper tried to get Stephen Miller tonight. Bad move. I had a Stephen Miller pulled up, and let me see if it's the one with Tapper. Oh, by the way, I didn't finish. My apologies. I didn't finish the list of senators and congresspeople on the Maduro list. Angela also Brooks was the one I ended with. Elizabeth Warren, Massachusetts. Markey, Massachusetts. Peters, Michigan. Slotkin, Michigan, one of the seditious six. Klobuchar, Democrat, Minnesota. Smith, Minnesota. Wicker, Mississippi. Fisher, Nebraska. Rosen, Nevada. Masto, Nevada. Shaheen, New Hampshire. Hassan, New Hampshire. Cory Booker, New Jersey. Kim, New Jersey. Martin Heinrich, New Mexico. New Mexico. Schumer, New York, he was grandstanding today in Congress trying to, talk about how Trump's just horrendous. Meanwhile, we've already showed that he was calling for the takedown of Maduro many years ago on Saturday night's show. Gillibrand, New York, Tillis, North Carolina, Langford, Oklahoma, Wyden, Oregon, Merkley, Oregon, Pennsylvania, McCormick, Jack Reed, Rhode Island, White House, Rhode Island, Thune, South Dakota, Corning, Texas, Sanders, Vermont, Welch, Vermont, Warner, Virginia, Kane, Virginia, Patty Murray, Washington. I can't see the rest of that. Alstis, West Virginia, Baldwin, Wisconsin, and one other in Washington that I can't read. So this is going to get very, very interesting, my friends, as time goes on. This is, the Data Republican, the Chicago Teachers Union, took a trip to Venezuela and met with the Maduro administration. This was in 2019. Mary Ellen One Bay was the one that posted this. So I'll give her a follow. But Julie Donuts reposted this as well. But Data Republican, who I've told you about and recommended that follow, is worked with Doge. So, so it's going to be very interesting. And also think about what Q said, those who scream the loudest, right? And we're going to watch who those are who are screaming the loudest. And then we're going to see why they were screaming the loudest, right? So we have that. Now, the big news for me anyway today was this decision by Health and Human Services, by Trump, by Bobby, of how we're going to change the way we vaccinate children. This is long overdue. This is something that we have absolutely been on top of on this show, and it needs to stop. And today, did I already share this? Is that why it's not? Let me see. I may have already shared this. Okay. Yep, it disappeared on me. My mistake. But let me play this for you while I look for that one. And that is the Venezuelan calling out a group of liberal protesters.
How are you guys? Where are you from, guys? No? Hi, guys. No more war. Where are you from? Here. Here? And why are you protesting right now, today?
No more wars in Venezuela.
No more wars in Venezuela. And you know about the situation in Venezuela?
Yes.
What do you know about the situation in Venezuela? So, you want to give me an answer? Because we can talk. I'm not aggressive or anything. I just want to talk, actually. So we have here a group of people that they are protesting because they want no more war in Venezuela. But all these people, there's nobody here from Venezuela. So from all these people, nobody is from Venezuela. This is people from United States. This is people from other places. But there's no people from Venezuela. And actually, I am from Venezuela. Andrés Bermúdez Portillo from Maracaibo, Venezuela. I spent time in jail because of the regime of Nicolás Maduro. We have 25 years with a dictatorship. And right now, in the moment that somebody take attention of that situation, people decide to protest because they don't want war. So in the past 5 years of 30 million of people that live in Venezuela, more than 10 million leave the country. So these people is right now protesting because they don't want that we, the Venezuelan people, recover our freedom. So these people don't want that Venezuela be free. These people is just here because they want to attack Donald Trump and they want to use the name of my country and the name of my people to do this without caring about all the people that has died and is suffering right now in a jail in Venezuela because of this regime.
Powerful. And they're getting paid to be there, too. MAGA Voice posted Venezuela's stock market is now skyrocketing thanks to President Trump. Caracas Stock Exchange General Index looks like it jumped from like almost doubled since the takeout of Maduro. Mainstream media going to cover that? I don't think so. They're still trying to find out why President Trump is such a bad man, and they're busy on that narrative and trying to make him bad. I wanted to show this too because I reposted this and it's and I said only Venezuelans should be listened to right now regarding the arrest of Maduro because they're the only ones that truly understand what's going on.
No. What? Muchos años esperando. Estamos saliendo de una de las peores ratas de Venezuela.
La captura de Nicolás Maduro y su esposa hoy son libres.
¡Viva la libertad!
So I found this the video. Beautiful seeing those folks.
Over the future of Greenland.
One last question,
doesn't
Stephen.
make any sense.
So before I go to that, and thank you, Hunter, for bringing this up. But the the joy in the faces of Venezuelans. I showed Saturday night Kevin Rotello, whose barber is Venezuelan. He was so happy he couldn't even speak. He was nearly in tears. And these are the people that we really need to be listening to, not the white liberal women who are getting paid to stand out and hold up signs. So I want to come to that in a second. This was U.S. Homeland Security. This is what Cuba started doing since they found out President Trump threatened them. I don't think that's going to do much. Yeah, they have no idea what's coming. And it's the Monroe Doctrine. We're getting them out of our hemisphere. Mexico, she's pushing back hard. She's making the same mistake, talking tough. Colombia's talking tough. Cuba's talking tough. And Greenland. Trump's talking about Greenland. So let's go to Jake Tapper and Stephen Miller here.
Apparently, over the future of Greenland.
One last question,
doesn't
Stephen.
Make any sense.
One last question. The president was very quick to say that the recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, opposition leader Machado in Venezuela, doesn't have the support in Venezuela to become the next president or the interim leader. And I wonder where he got that from, given that her cutout, Gonzalez, won the election last year 2 years ago, overwhelmingly. 70% of the vote or something like that. Why does the president think that Machado should not be the next leader? Why does he think she's weak?
First of all of Venezuela experts agree. All Venezuela experts agree that it would be absurd and preposterous for us to suddenly fly her into the country and to put her in charge. And the military would follow her and the security forces would follow her. This is not a serious. It's not even a serious question.
So should there be an election?
Let me. If you give me the floor for 30 seconds, let me tell you what we are doing here, Jake. The United States, this is sort of foundational. The United States is using its military to secure our interests unapologetically in our hemisphere. We're a superpower, and under President Trump, we are going to conduct ourselves as a superpower. It is absurd that we would allow a nation in our own backyard to become the supplier of resources to our adversaries, but not to us, to hoard weapons from our adversaries, to be able to be positioned as an asset against the United States rather than on behalf of the United States.
Sovereign countries shouldn't be able to do what they want to do.
The Monroe Doctrine and the Trump Doctrine is all about securing the national interests of America. For years, we sent our soldiers to die in deserts in the Middle East to try to build them parliaments, to try to build them democracies, to try to give them more oil, to try to give them more resources. The future of the free world, Jake, depends on America being able to assert ourselves and our interests without apology. This whole period that happened after World War II, where the West began apologizing and groveling and begging
I don't even
and
know,
engaging these
honestly,
mass
what you're talking
reparation
about right
schemes.
now.
What I'm talking about, Jake, is the idea. And by the way, you do. I know you love doing that smarmy thing, Jake, and I was hoping to be better than that this time.
I asked you about if there should be an election.
Exactly.
I asked you if there would be an election in Venezuela. That's what I asked. I said, why was the president so quick to dismiss Machado? You answered that question. And then I said,
the objective, Jake, is security and stability for the people of Venezuela. With our help and leadership, that country will become more prosperous than it has ever been in its whole history. Venezuelans.
But the woman running Venezuela right now is part of the Maduro regime.
There will be conversations, Jake, about all of these guideposts along the way. The reason why I was giving you that speech, which I know you didn't want to hear, is because you're approaching this from the wrong frame. This neoliberal frame that the United States' job is to go around the world and demanding immediate elections be held everywhere, immediately, all the time, right away. To create these vacuums.
That's not what I think, but you invaded the country. We went into the country and we seized the leader of Venezuela.
Damn straight we did.
And I'm saying,
we're not going to let.
So is the U.S. going to have new elections?
Jake, is that we're not going to let Tim Pot communist dictators send rapists into our country, send drugs into our country, send weapons into our country.
Okay.
And we're not going to let a country fall into the hands of our adversaries. The future of Venezuela, working with America, is going to be so bright and so incredible and so positive, and we'll have a conversation about everything that you raised. But the priority right now, as the president has made clear, is a judicious, thoughtful, careful transition process to secure a great future for Venezuela and to secure a great future for America.
All right.
And let's just take a moment and just acknowledge, Jake, that what we've witnessed under President Trump's leadership this last week is one of the greatest foreign policy and military victories this country has ever had.
Stephen Miller, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
A lot there to discuss. The panel's here. We're going to get their thoughts on what you just heard.
Wow. So, yeah, I mean, when you understand that the media is they're just trying to keep things as they always have been. and you understand that they're not seeking the truth, it's just, you treat them the way that Trump does. You treat them the way that Stephen Miller does. And that's it. That's all you got to do. And we've captured it. And I don't know if you guys saw this. I reposted this. Elon reposted this. It's okay. They took my oil too. P. Diddy and Maduro. There you go, my friends. Yeah, that's good. Whoever came up with that is fantastic. And maybe, was it American Barbie? I don't know. But she reposted that. Yeah, he's not listening to Stephen. He's just trying to get his narrative out there, right? And it's failing. It's failing across the board, right? Yeah. And so Bo Hunter, reliable sources said that the SAM sites in Venezuela were Chinese systems. They didn't work, and a bunch of Cubans were operating them. Interesting. Yeah, Stephen Miller's great. Yeah, amazing. So, so let me get to, by the way, do you guys have any questions in the chat? Oh, let me do this, my friends. A very dear friend and loyal listener will match. Let me do this, take it off there. Will match $10 $25 donations up to $250 for a free year of Sned heads and a t-shirt. So please check that out. And so if you basically donate, she will match. So if you put in $25, it'll be $50. If you put in $10, it'll be $20. And so she asked for $10 $25 donations. And I didn't talk about it the other night because I didn't want to interrupt the conversation that the great roundtable we were having. So I just had Moonbeam and I dropped it in the chat, but I didn't mention anything about it. But I wanted to share that with you and hopefully get your participation so that we can keep the lights on here and grow this show into what it is capable of becoming, which I believe is going to be awesome. Awesome. So please join us, my friends. And if you're in a tight spot, that's why I do it for free. CR Partners, thank you. Edward Quinn, thank you. William Atkinson, Karen Billick, and Heather Willard, thank you for your $100 donation from Saturday night. That was really awesome. Really appreciate you. So, my friends, please get on the wheel and let's get it going. Here we go. Let me get to the HHS basically, and I'm going to take you to President Trump's page. And again, folks, POTUS has been posting like crazy. It's really amazing, some of the messages he's sending. This to me is huge. So today, the Trump administration is proud to announce the United States of America's updated childhood vaccination schedule. This schedule is rooted in the gold standard of science and widely agreed upon by scientists and experts all over the world. Effective today, America will no longer require 72 jabs for our beautiful, healthy children. We are moving to a far more reasonable schedule where all children will only be recommended to receive vaccinations for 11 of the most serious and dangerous diseases. Parents can still choose to give their children all of the vaccinations if they wish. Imagine that. You have a choice as a parent, and they will still be covered by insurance. However, this updated schedule finally aligns the United States with other developed nations around the world. Congratulations to HHS Secretary Bobby Kennedy, CDC Actor and Director Jim O'Neill, FDA Commissioner Marty McCurry, CMS Administrator Dr. Oz, NIH Director Jay Bhattacharya, and all of the medical experts and professionals who worked very hard to make this happen. Many Americans, especially the Maha moms, have been praying for these common sense reforms for many years. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. European country, 11 injections. United States, 72. Folks, this is huge. This is going to change our children, change our future in such a huge way, and make us just so much healthier. Really fantastic. His most recent post tonight was 4 hours ago. Trump cuts off $10 billion in funding to 5 blue states for child care, social services over fraud fears. This is a New York Post article. And $10 billion for a handful of Democrat-led states. Let me see if I can get out of this here. Excuse me. At least 7.35 in TANF money will be prevented from going to California, Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota, and New York. Okay. Now, going back to President Trump's posts, excuse me, he also posted the following. Minnesota's corrupt governor will possibly leave office before his term is up, but in any event, will not be running again because he was caught red-handed, along with Ilhan Omar and others of his Somali friends, stealing tens of billions of tax dollars. I feel certain the facts will come out and they will reveal a seriously unscrupulous and rich group of slimeballs. Governor Walz has destroyed the state of Minnesota, but others, like Governor Gavin Newsom, J.B. Pritzker, and Kathy Hochul, have done, in my opinion, an even more dishonest and incompetent job. No one is above the law. Who's next, folks? Newsom, that's going to be huge. Pritzker, huge. Hochul, huge in New York. And he's already cutting off the money to California, Colorado, Illinois, Minnesota, and New York. Right? So these folks are going down. Certainly Newsom, Pritzker, and Hochul. Yeah, that's huge. That's huge, my friends. Let me pull up put the donation link for you in the chat. And thank you, Moonbeam, for dropping that. Yeah, but let me go to some President Trump posts here, my friends. This is huge. Let me get to it. He reposted about Mark Kelly and Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. So he reposted this. Mark Kelly, they're getting into. Check this out. 6 weeks ago, Senator Mark Kelly and 5 other members of Congress released a reckless and seditious video that was clearly intended to undermine good order and military discipline. As a retired Navy captain who is still receiving a military pension, Captain Kelly knows he is still accountable to military justice, and the Department of War and the American people expect justice. Therefore, in response to Senator Mark Kelly's seditious statements and his pattern of reckless misconduct, the Department of War has taken administrative action against Captain Mark E. Kelly. The department has initiated retirement grade determination proceedings with reduction in his retired grade, resulting in a corresponding reduction in retired pay. To ensure this action, the Secretary of War has also issued a formal letter of censure which outlines the totality of Captain Kelly's reckless misconduct. This censure is a necessary process step and will be placed in Captain Kelly's official and permanent military personnel file. Captain Kelly has been provided notice, and the basis for this action has 30 days to submit a response. The retirement grade determination process directed by Secretary Hegseth will be completed within 45 days. Captain Kelly's status as a sitting U.S. Senator does not exempt him from accountability, and further violations could result in further action. These actions are based on Captain Kelly's public statements from June through December 2025. As I've mentioned many times, he has absolutely doubled and tripled down, in which he characterized lawful military operations as illegal and counseled members of the armed forces to refuse lawful orders. This conduct was seditious in nature and violated Articles 133 and 134 of the Uniform Code of Military Justice, to which Captain Kelly remains subject as a retired officer receiving pay. There you have it. And let's see. I don't know. He did have a response. Some people are saying, "Oh, we need more like him." I don't think so. Yeah, where's there we go. And I'm looking for his video, and I'm not finding his video. All right. Okay. Let's check this out from Captain Kyle here while I'm looking for that.
So, Mr. President, thank you for coming. This can be pretty vulnerable. I just want to start simple. How are you feeling today?
How am I feeling? I feel tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. Probably better than anyone's ever felt sitting on this couch, by the way. People come in here sad, broken, confused. Not me. I'm winning mentally. Very stable feelings. Doctors say it all the time.
Okay. And what brings you here?
Well, they said it would be good optics. I don't know who they are, but they're always saying things. Apparently, if you're successful, people want you to talk about your feelings. I think it's a scam, total scam, but here I am.
Do you feel stressed at all?
Stressed? No, I cause stress. Big difference. Other people get stressed watching me win. That's on them. I sleep beautifully too, 3 or 4 hours. And sometimes I don't sleep at all. Sleepy Joe sleeps too, but not in a good way.
Let's talk about relationships. Any difficult ones in your life?
Oh, plenty. The media, very abusive relationship, by the way. I give them ratings. They lie about me. Democrats, totally toxic. Foreign leaders, some good, some very bad. Kim Jong-un, a.k.a. Rocket Man, he liked me, wrote me beautiful letters. Very affectionate guy. People don't talk about that enough.
Do you ever feel misunderstood?
All the time, constantly. People hear what I say, but they don't hear it. I say greatest economy ever. They say controversial. I say secure the border wall. They say racist. And how dare you? It's unbelievable. Truly unbelievable.
And how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel right, because when everyone's against you and you're still winning, that tells you everything. Lincoln had haters. Me, tremendous haters. Well, I guess Tampon Tim has haters too, but he deserves the hate, let me tell you.
And why do you think people should subscribe to the Baby News Network?
Because it's the best channel on YouTube, quite frankly. Everybody says it. The funniest videos, the smartest jokes, the most beautiful ratings you've ever seen. Much more beautiful than yours, no offense. And if you don't subscribe to the Baby News Network, then we are never doing this again.
Okay, Mr. President, I've just subscribed. Now let's move on and try a grounding exercise. Take a deep breath.
I breathe very well. The best breathing. Doctors are amazed by my lungs. They said, sir, these are powerful lungs. Maybe the best lungs they've ever seen. See? Very grounded, believe me.
Good. Now tell me about something that angers you.
Where do I start? Low ratings, fake polls, fake news, windmills, killing birds. The real anger is when they cheat and then look you in the eye and say, everything was fair, sir. Or when they try to lock you up for doing absolutely nothing wrong.
Do you ever feel the need to prove yourself?
Do I feel the need to prove myself? No, but I enjoy it. It's like a hobby. Somebody doubts me, I win again, they cry, rinse and repeat. Very relaxing, actually. Better than therapy, in my opinion.
What about criticism? How do you handle that?
Very well, actually. I respond publicly, immediately, strongly, sometimes at 3 a.m. on Truth Social, because that's when truth hits you the hardest. People say, ignore it. Why? I'm right. Silence is weakness. Everybody knows that.
Do you ever doubt yourself?
Absolutely not. Doubt is for people without instincts. My instincts are tremendous. You don't doubt a hurricane. You don't doubt gravity. And quite frankly, you don't doubt me.
If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Honestly, nothing. But if I had to pick, maybe I'd be less generous. I give people too many chances. Look at some of these politicians, total disasters. I elevated them, and most of them are just disappointing. So sad.
Final question. What do you want people to understand about you?
That I care a lot more than they think. I want the country to win. I want people to win. I want therapists to win, unless they didn't vote for me, of course. But I'm confident because I'm right. Big difference, by the way.
That's actually very insightful.
I know it was. People say therapy changes you. It didn't change me, to be honest. It just confirmed me. So this was great. Seriously, tremendous session. Probably your best one ever.
Will you be coming back?
Maybe. But it depends on the ratings of the session. So look, I hope this little session made you feel better. I did most of the talking, most of the heavy lifting. Everybody saw it. We can do this again, same time next week. My team will send you the invoice because honestly, I should be getting paid for this. All right, folks. So remember to take a deep breath, stay mentally strong, and as always, MAGA
wins
again.
Awesome. I love that. So, found Mark Kelly. Not much there, but here, let me play his response.
I've got a question for you. How many generations have served in the military? 0. Now, for me and my family, service to our country is in my blood. My great-grandfather served in the U.S. Navy after immigrating from Ireland. Both of my grandfathers served during World War II. Both of my parents wore uniforms.
Why isn't he talking about the sedition? It's distraction. Look at how much I love my country by the way my family has served my country. I wonder what his grandfather would say about his actions.
My dad in the 82nd Airborne, and both of them as career police officers. And when it was our turn, my brother and I started as volunteer EMTs as teenagers before.
Yeah, I don't give a shit, honestly. Thank you for your service, but you're not going to use your service to justify your sedition. And that's what you're trying to do. And so we're not going to let that slide. That's all. It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen. I want to keep it under 2 hours, my friends. The fraud in Minnesota is breaking around. I did want to say that some people are having delays with silver bullion being delivered. Delays like 7 weeks on some products at major U.S. bullion dealers. And today's 10% silver spike may cool demand slightly to start the week, but we may not be far from the point at which retail joins a silver stampede. It's actually up over $100, I believe, in was it England? It was up over $100. So check out, by the way, if you want to check out our silver option, you can buy gold and silver. You can join here for $100 off and immediately begin purchases at the ounce price, even if you buy a fraction of ounces. So if you want to buy 1/10 of an ounce of gold, if you buy it anywhere else, you're going to get marked up. If you buy it from fractionalgold.com/Patriot Silver, you are going to get it at the ounce price, even if you only get 10 or 20th of an ounce. This is called fractional buying. You can have them store it until you have something that they can ship. And it's a great deal. So please check that out. fractionalgold.com/Patriot Silver. Or you can talk to Moonbeam as well. Let's see. Let me get back to this final story here.
Grand jury inducted.
Hold on.
News here at 6. Federal agents charged a second Georgia lawmaker with defrauding taxpayers through pandemic unemployment insurance. A grand jury indicted Stone Mountain Democrat Karen Bennett. Prosecutors allege she obtained unemployment benefits for employees even though her business remained open through the pandemic. Bennett becomes the second Georgia lawmaker arrested on pandemic-related fraud charges. A grand jury also indicted Covington Democrat Sharon Henderson last month. Both are out on breaking news here at 6. Federal agents charged a second Georgia lawmaker with defrauding taxpayers through pandemic unemployment.
So the fraud's coming out, my friends. The fraud's coming out. Here's in. Let me share this with you real quick. Iranian daycare owner here in California.
Did you win the law? That's assault. Don't touch me. Ever since Nick Shirley has done his reporting in Minnesota, we have Iranian daycare centers in California. Over here we have 1412 South Crescent Heights, Creative Children Academy. Nobody has come in or out of this facility in 9 months. Every window is just boarded up, tinted or barred. I think that's Jamshid William. Jamshid, registered owner of this property. Jamshid, where's the money, Jamshid? Where did you get $3.42 million for this one facility? Where'd you get this? I don't understand. How did you get property? Yeah, did you win the law? That's assault. Don't touch me.
He's driving. By the way, he's driving a Rolls Royce.
Don't touch me. Jamshid, where are the children? 96 registered children. Where are they? I don't. Where are the children? In or out? Oh, look, he's handicapped. How did you get?
Can you read English? This certificate for daycare center. This is an emblem from California.
That's from the Department of Social Services. That's how you've been getting your grant money for.
It doesn't look like the emblem.
Well, entities across the Bay Area and Southern California. You have
I know what they're doing.
The most money you've.
I know what you're doing.
Karen Bass's government, $4.2 million just to her campaign, electoral campaign alone.
You guys are like influencing. He's trying to be lawyer, having a binder. Go back to your cockroach office.
I'm just a concerned citizen, and I want to understand, how did you get
California? Go for this.
Don't touch me. I don't know what that means. Careful, I think he's revving up the car.
Don't run, Jamshid.
Money, Jamshid. $40.8 million.
Keep coming back.
No, how did you get? You have a property company?
I have family. I have children. I just have the business. I go open it at the office. They give you a certificate, and that's it.
You have a nice watch too. How did you get the watch and the car? Did you win the lottery, or are you making $1.2 million
I don't understand you.
Center. You've opened and closed a new child data
Don't
center
run.
at this location alone every year since 2000.
Don't run. Opportunity is why I came to America. Come here, look at this. You think it's cheap to bring a building up to code for opening a daycare? I'd rather buy 4 more of these ones. Look at this. This is the beautiful Rolls Royce American car. Come here. But I have to install what I have to install to become the next generational wealth person in my family. Look, our floor was falling through into the sewer. So we had to cut, take out the soil, do a testing of the soil because next to the gas station, okay?
This is not over, and we need to follow Jamshid and this entire Iranian fraud that is going on here in California. Oh my God, is that Jamshid again?
He assaulted. You want to put that aside. I don't know what that means.
Did you win the
All right, a bunch of Nick Shirley's popping up, my friends. Thank you to Nancy Sutherland who donated tonight. Got a part of it. We'll continue that tomorrow night because Mondays are just an odd night for donations for some reason. But thank you all who showed up tonight and shared out the show from Saturday, and a lot of good stuff going on. I think it's going to be a big week, my friends, just because. I think what's going on right now, there's something really significant going on at the Pentagon as well. And I don't think that it's going to stop with Maduro. I think he's going to keep going. And Sheinbaum in Mexico, Colombia, even Carney has mentioned something about don't come to Canada. Greenland, Canada, Monroe Doctrine, Road Doctrine. Here we go, my friends. Thanks for being here tonight. I will see you if not tomorrow night, definitely Wednesday night. I got to check on some things about tomorrow night. But yes, I'm going to get at least 3 shows in this week. That's for sure, because we got a big week. So thanks for being here, my friends. And God bless the US of A. God bless you. Much love to you. And see you soon. Bye-bye.